Hey guys, Bobby here. Today we're diving into the restoration and colorization of a photo that dates all the way back to the 1880s. This one was sent to me by my client Jonathan. It features his great-grandparents, Juliana and Ernest, and it's one of those rare gems that feels like a time capsule, frozen in a fragile state. Now, let's set the scene a bit. In the 1880s, photography was still a fairly new craft to the general public. Portraits like this were most often taken in studios, using large format cameras that required subjects to remain perfectly still, sometimes for several minutes at a time. There was no "say cheese" and "smile." No, even blinking too early could ruin the shot. This is why so many portraits from that era look solemn or still. It wasn't always by choice. The photo itself may have been a cabinet card, or possibly even a hand-drawn photographic reproduction, which was common for formal portraits back then. These images were usually mounted on cardboard and treasured as heirlooms. Given the age and condition of this one, it's likely been through a lot. Time, moisture, handling, and by the time it arrived on my desk, it needed serious love. So, I began by cleaning up the dust, cracks, and scratches. This part is always time-consuming. I used the patch tool to reconstruct missing elements and regenerated some of the damaged edges. Restoration is like archaeology. You gently uncover what's hidden without disturbing its integrity. Quick side note, on the day I recorded this, I ran into a few tech issues. My recording software failed, and I had to do a chunk of the work on my phone because I had to rush my dog to the vet. Don't worry, she's fine. So, you'll see a mix of footage here, but the love and effort poured into this photo stayed constant. Time traveler trivia. Here's a wild one. What toxic chemical was used to develop photos back in the 1800s? Was it mercury, arsenic, or formaldehyde? Take a guess. I'll reveal the answer at the end of the video. Sometime in 1880, this handsome gentleman and beautiful lady likely donned their finest clothes, perhaps even their Sunday best, and sat, possibly for hours, for this portrait. And yes, you heard that right. Early photography often required long exposure times, especially in indoor settings. They may have sat incredibly still, faces expressionless, while the photographer adjusted lighting and focus. It was a big deal. A moment meant to be preserved, not just for themselves, but for the generations to come. And now, over 140 years later, I had the honor of restoring that moment, of bringing it back to life. And I owe it to them to make sure it looks amazing. Restoration and colorization happen in stages. You clean it once when you open it, again during editing, and again after coloring. It's a layering process, like baking a cake, but instead of flour and sugar, I'm working with pixels, texture, and light. Now, you might be wondering just how long it takes to bring a photo like this back to life. Well, this one took me 6 hours from start to finish, a window into time that I had to carefully piece back together. Now comes the fun part, colorization. Before I even picked up my stylus, I dove into research. I looked up typical 1880s attire, skin tones, hairstyles, and even lighting methods used back then. You see, colorizing isn't just about making something look pretty, it's about honoring the historical context and getting the mood right. For the color, I combined Photoshop's AI colorization filter with manual painting. I was careful to stick with the muted, earthy tones typical of the 19th century, browns, deep grays, and dusky blues. Nothing too flamboyant. The goal was realism and a tiny bit of reinvention for time travel. For this project, I used a tool called CodeFormer, along with a few premium Photoshop plugins and tools that I've invested in over time. They're paid tools, but they're worth every penny for the quality they deliver. Faces are the soul of these photos. I've had clients tell me things like, "Wow, he looks exactly like my son." And this would be the photo of a great-grandfather from a century ago that was totally damaged. That resemblance across generations is always powerful, and I never take that lightly. Jonathan gave me clear guidance on skin tones and eye colors, and I followed that closely. I also added subtle texture to Ernest's suit and Juliana's dress to bring the fabric to life. A lot of that work happened while I was on the go, literally editing from Snapseed and Sketchbook while waiting at the vet's office. Now, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, especially as the time traveler, I like my final versions to look clean, sharp, and elegant, almost as if they were taken today. But I've also learned that restoration isn't always about sharpness. It's about authenticity. So I always send multiple versions to my clients. A high-definition, modernized version, a gently retouched version that still carries the character of age, and always a version that mirrors the original photo exactly, only now renewed and clean, like a fresh breath of air across generations. That way, my clients can choose what resonates most with their memory. Okay, it's almost the time that we've all been waiting for. But before that, what's the answer to our trivia? Well, if you guessed mercury, you're right. Photographers used mercury vapor to bring out the image. It worked, but many of them got sick or worse because of it. Makes you appreciate what we do today just a bit more, doesn't it? And now, here's the final result. It feels like we've brought history back to life. Like time folded in on itself, and we got to peek through a small, intimate window into the past. I really love how it turned out, and Jonathan loves it too. Thank you to Jonathan for allowing me to share this story with you all. If you'd like to see how I bring images back to life, be sure to like and subscribe. If you have an image with a story to share, feel free to reach out to me. My contacts are in the description. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.